Welcome to the channel. You're probably here because you like pedal shafts. Straight ones, curved ones, bent ones. You just need some shaft in your life. And I'm gonna fill you up on a little segment I like to call Shaft Play. This little basket of goodness is a '69 VW Beetle. And if that's not enough to wet your willy, well, look what's under the bonnet, hood, frunk, I don't know, look what's under here. And while it starts as a 5.3 LS swap up front, ends in a wrecked C5 Corvette in the rear. And as you can probably imagine, the factory pedal assembly isn't gonna work, I know, crazy, with our current situation. I want you to think about this build less like Formula One style and more like Familiar Juan. He seems like a good guy. Starts. This engine is actually drive-by-wire, so while I do have to fit a throttle pedal assembly, it's not nearly as complicated as one you gotta run a cable to and adjust all the linkages and all that fun jargon. Brake pedal. This has got a weird setup. It has a 90-degree brake pedal adapter. When you press the brake pedal down, it actually pushes this rod forward and back at you, which then turns into this other movement that goes this direction, which pushes on a booster and a brake master cylinder that sits over here in this nook. Clearly, you and I love things that are needlessly complicated for practically no reason because, well, you're here. But we need this setup because there's no way to stuff a brake booster and master cylinder into the, well, cylinder head of the engine, ironically. Normally, I would only use one of these brake pedal adapter systems if you're gonna do a shaved firewall, but here is really my only option. Which brings us to the clutch pedal. In 1969, VW was using a cable-operated clutch, and well, that was cool for 1969, or like also 2004 if you're a Ford Mustang. So I'm going to convert to a hydraulic clutch using a Triton clutch pedal master cylinder and then just some crappy jegs bracket I found that happens to kind of bolt everything together, not perfectly, but I don't want perfect in here. I demand chaos. But unfortunately, my little feetsies can't get in there because the pedals are straight on 99.724% repeating of all aftermarket pedal assemblies. So we got to do some bending. Now the clutch pedal assembly appears to be made out of 3/16 steel everywhere. So I can just take that in our crappy Harbor Freight vise, clamp it in there, and hit it with whatever hammer-shaped object is laying around. But to get the right angle the first time, or the 7th, however many times we have to bend it, I'm gonna take a piece of cardboard, we're gonna bend it at the right angles to at least give us an idea of how I need to get it over there with hopefully not too much of the error of the trial process. When you start bending these sumbitches, you're actually going to start losing height for the entire pedal assembly itself. So your pad actually moves farther up. For me, that's actually perfect because it's way too close to the floor. But for you, and that other guy that just hangs out behind the shed over there, don't worry about him. But it might just easier to just graft in a new piece that's actually longer if length is what you need. So let's toss this in the car and see what we fucked up. This one kind of fits like Bigfoot's dick under a trench coat, but it'll work. So now we're gonna get started on our brake pedal assembly. It's made out of a thick boy 3/8 thick steel. Wow, I know you, okay. We're gonna have to take a different approach on this one because if we try to bend that on our Harbor Freight vise, we're gonna blow its asshole out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take an angle grinder or a saw and notch all the areas that I wanna make a bend in. And as we bend her over on the vise, that's what she said, we're gonna keep enlarging that V. Also, that's what she said, to make sure there's enough space for the angle. But unfortunately here, we ran out of length. Classic you-me problems. The more I bent this up, the higher it went, just started, it doesn't work. So to fix all my problems in life, I went ahead and took an emergency Taco Bell lunch break and I picked up some steel on the way back too. Wooden trim, steel, sheet metal, doesn't matter. Just bring that material over to your other thing and then just eyeball it and then just keep cutting away at it until it fits. Yep. Less than 87 feet. Perfect. And what have I named this groundbreaking measure, you ask? Well, it's the measure 0, cut 17 times the fit method. Do your best, caulk the rest. And the end result of all this work? Shaft perfection. So now we've got a clutch pedal that does super neat clutch pedal things without having to finagle my knee under the bottom side of the wheel. And we have a brake pedal that does, well, brake pedal things. And for the brake pedal, we match the angle of the clutch pedal perfectly for my mental instability. And then finally we got a throttle pedal. Yep, I haven't started that one yet, but I'm sure we'll get that one to fit eventually. Well, it's a little bit farther forward than I'd like. We got a little bit of adjustment in the clutch pedal to bring it out, and we also have a little bit of adjustment in the Heim joint brake pedal to bring it back a little bit. So it's probably fine for, you know, what I do. And there you have it, a custom clutch pedal, and, you know, while we were in there, sprinkled a little brake pedal action on the side. Now, hopefully you at least learned one special thing today, and if you didn't learn anything, well, no one said you would learn anything, so you're welcome. And I'm installing a universal brake handle on this car as we speak, well, in between speaking, and I'll get that video out in 2 to 7 months, and then you'll be able to look at that and see the Beetle again. Lucky you. But in the meantime, I got a surprise. You could probably already see it, and some of the B-roll was shot in this video on it. We got a brand new camera. Yeah, now you can see my ass in 4K. This video isn't in 4K, but the possibility of me shooting it is there. So, this is what I look like. Better resolution. I'm sorry. So if you like this shit, well, do that thing you know I like. Oh yeah, wow. That's above average in my book. So you guys have a good one. This is our 1963 Buick Beetle. That thing doesn't exist. Make you proud, Dad. And if that clutch pedal doesn't get us halfway to Tucson, well, I don't even know what that phrase means then.